My husband said I should manage my time better while I hadn't had a day off in months, so I stopped doing anything that benefited him. He called it a tantrum, then begged for normalcy. I worked a full shift at the hospital before coming home to cook his favorite pasta from scratch because he mentioned wanting comfort food this morning. The kitchen was spotless when I started, and I'd already done 2 loads of his laundry while the sauce simmered. He sat on the couch playing video games the entire time, only pausing to ask if dinner was ready yet, and once to tell me to keep it down because I was distracting him. When I finally served him, he took 1 bite and said the sauce needed more salt, then launched into his daily lecture about how I never vacuum under the bed properly, and how his mother's house was always immaculate. Maybe if you managed your time better instead of being lazy on your days off, he said between bites. I stood there watching him devour the meal I'd spent an hour preparing while listing all the ways I was failing as a partner, never mentioning that I hadn't had a real day off in months. You know what would be nice? Said my coworker Ethan the next morning as I vented during our break. If you just stopped. I looked at him over my coffee, confused by the simplicity of his suggestion. Just stop doing things for him and see what happens when he has to handle his own life. Ethan had been through a similar situation with his ex, and always gave surprisingly good advice. But the house would fall apart, I protested weakly. He shrugged and took a bite of his sandwich. That sounds like his problem, not yours, especially since nothing you do is apparently good enough anyway. The idea felt radical and terrifying, but also oddly liberating. I thought about the 5 shirts I'd ironed Sunday while he played golf, about the bathroom I'd scrubbed while he napped, about the grocery shopping and meal planning and the constant mental labor of keeping our life running smoothly. You're not his mother or his maid, Ethan added. You're supposed to be partners, but it sounds like you're the only one doing any actual partnering here. That afternoon, I moved my clothes into the guest bedroom. I gathered my toiletries from our shared bathroom and set them up in the hall bathroom. My husband was still at work, probably complaining to his coworkers about how I'd forgotten to iron his shirt that morning, even though I'd actually ironed 5 of them on Sunday while he played video games and yelled at me to bring him snacks. I looked around our bedroom one last time at his dirty clothes thrown everywhere despite the hamper being 3 feet away, at the expensive gaming setup I'd saved for months to buy him for his birthday that he'd never thanked me for. None of this was my problem anymore. When he came home that evening, he found me eating a beautiful salmon dinner in the dining room with a glass of wine and a book. I'd made exactly 1 portion. He stood in the doorway staring at the scene, his laptop bag still on his shoulder. Where's my dinner? He asked, genuinely bewildered by the concept of me eating without him. I only cooked for myself tonight, I said, taking another bite of perfectly seasoned fish. There's plenty of food in the fridge if you want to make something. His face went through several emotions before landing on indignation. Are you seriously being petty about yesterday? I was just trying to help you improve. You're acting like a child. I turned the page of my book and kept eating. You said I don't do enough, so I decided to only do things for myself from now on. He laughed like I was joking, went to the kitchen, and stood there for 10 minutes before ordering takeout, then came back to complain about the delivery fee and how I was costing him money with my tantrum. By day 3, the kitchen sink was overflowing with his dishes and pizza boxes surrounded the trash can. He'd run out of clean work clothes and started wearing the same shirt multiple days in a row. The main bathroom looked like a disaster zone because he'd never once cleaned up his beard trimmings or put the toothpaste cap back on. By the end of the first week, he'd attempted laundry but turned all his white shirts pink and shrunk his favorite sweater. The smell from his bedroom was becoming noticeable even with the door closed. He'd been living on takeout and microwave meals, and I could hear him complaining to his mother on the phone about how expensive food delivery was getting. She must have suggested he cook because I heard him yell that he didn't know how and that wasn't his job. On day 10, he knocked on my door with grocery store flowers. I'm sorry I was critical, he said, though his tone suggested he was sorry about the consequences, not the actions. Can we please go back to normal now? This is embarrassing when people come over. I took the flowers, put them in a vase in my room, and said, this is my normal now. His face crumpled with genuine panic. By week 3, his mother showed up and spent 4 hours cleaning while lecturing him. That evening, he sat on the floor outside my door and finally said the truth. I didn't realize everything you did until you stopped doing it. I'm drowning here. You're supposed to take care of me. I opened the door and looked at him sitting there, defeated and surrounded by the chaos he'd created. I was drowning for years while you told me I wasn't swimming hard enough. I showed him the apartment listings on my phone. His face went white as he realized